Hello guys and welcome back, and in this video we are going to learn that how you can make your career as a data scientist. Now obviously a lot of people like you have the aspiration of becoming a data scientist. Now it is a very lucrative career option, but the problem is I don't know what is the right way to do that. I don't know right approach. So what would be the right path for me? And obviously this is something where people are stuck. So in this video, we are going to discuss in detail that how you as a person can become a data scientist. Now, I want to remind you one thing, that this is going to be a video where we are going to give you a blueprint of it. But obviously, if you need some personalized understanding, if you're standing somewhere and you need suggestion from there, in that case, obviously you should reach to the link which is given in the description of this particular video, where you can reach to our expert. So let's get started. Okay, now let's try to understand what is the first of all requirement of a data scientist. So consider this example. You are a human being, you have these numbers in your screen and you have this graph on your screen. Which one would you prefer? Obviously, I'm going to give you time, and it's a no-brainer that you, instead of choosing this one, you're going to choose this one, because this is giving you a very simple way of understanding that we have more ones compared to zero in this particular image. This is what you have to do as a data scientist in nutshell. That means you have this raw format of data. You have to convert that data into this kind of a format. So people like the business analyst, if I may, the management of the company can take decision based on these outcomes, if I may, or I should say the graphs. Okay, now let's try to understand exactly what is the role of a data scientist. So obviously you can see there is a big definition which is giving here. So basically what you will do, you have this kind of a data, which is obviously your database. It has all the raw amount of data, and which is very, I should say, in pure form right now. Like let's say it is maybe 6 hours ago, or maybe it's a 12-hour ago data kind of a thing. This is you. And obviously your job is to convert this kind of a data. Obviously this is not a data, but this is a database. So you have to convert that kind of a data into this kind of a thing. So you can see there is a pie chart. We have a Manhattan, and I don't know what this is an area graph. So you have to convert this kind of a data into this kind of a thing. So giving meaning to the data, if I may, is the sum up of what I should say the role of a data scientist. Ultimately this helps company to decide what is the next step they have to take. Okay, now let's try to understand, is this only the graph which we have to convert, or we are looking for some sort of a different answer? So I'll give a very simple example what kind of an answers companies are looking for. So they are looking for like what type of a food ate in a certain locality. So like let's say you are working in Zomato, you're working in Swiggy, and obviously you're running a campaign. So you have to understand like what kind of a promotion we should run. So obviously as a data scientist you can analyze that and you can give the decision like this is what we are supposed to do. You can also see who is using their app in what kind of a way. So like maybe there is a certain demographic which is using the app in a different way. There is a certain demographic which is using the application in a certain way. So like these are the various sort of a functionality we can add. So like let's say what pages have highest bounce rate. So like let's say if a person is coming to your particular website and they're bouncing away, and if that has a huge graph, so you have to understand and you have to realize that okay, we have to make some changes in that. So as a data scientist you find answers like these. It helps your business to actually grow and provide the services, or I should say kind of products which you're aspiring to provide to your customers. Okay, now let's try to understand why exactly companies are looking data scientists at the first place. So obviously these are the few points. Size of data these days is very huge. Obviously we understand why. You're watching this probably video on YouTube or whatever platform you're using. It has a huge amount of data, and what they are going to do with that kind of a data. So since the size of data is huge, obviously it is not something which they can calculate over their fingers. So that is why they need you. Secondly, world is more connected. So maybe like let's say 200 years ago, the amount of analysis you were supposed to do was maybe like for 40 people, 50 people at max. But today everyone is connected. Facebook alone has 2 billion active users a month. So obviously you can understand this kind of a data has to be analyzed, and it is not something which a human being can do easily. Then we have regional push. So if we talk about nation of India, we have so many regions. So obviously they have various way of understanding, they have various way of doing things. So it obviously you need someone who can analyze that. Then finally, pen and paper analysis does not work here for a very simple reason. Your data is in digital format. So you cannot use things which were used maybe 50 years ago, 60 years ago. So that is why you need a data scientist. And finally, which is one of the most important point, fresh data is in raw form. Now, what does that mean? Like let's say your company is running a campaign and that campaign goes viral. It goes trending. Now what will happen? Obviously people will tweet about it, people will say something around it, people will use hashtag or whatever that is. So that is going to be in a raw format, and you don't know what kind of a usage people are using it. So you have to analyze that, and obviously that data is in raw form. I do not mean that it does not have a structure. What I mean is you don't understand, or maybe you don't have the idea what kind of a data I'm expecting in next 1 hour and what kind of a data I'm expecting in next 6 hours. Okay, so now the question is, what do I need to learn to become a data scientist? So obviously, first thing which I would suggest for obvious reasons is database knowledge. Minimum MySQL, which is basically free. You can also go with MS SQL and different variations of database software, if I may. So this is the minimum requirement I would say that you should have. Then obviously, you should learn mathematics. If you're not good at it, don't get disheartened, obviously, because it is not going to be very, I should say, brutal mathematics. But I would say you should focus especially on statistics, because this is where you can actually grow yourself. This is where you can actually take advantage of all the algorithms, if I may, or the formulas to actually give the right kind of a data which is supposed to be analyzed. Then learn a programming language, which is obviously a no-brainer. If you're working in this kind of field, if you're moving in this kind of field, you need to have some programming knowledge. Then learn to play with data. This is one of the most important skill. This does not mean, it is basically not a skill. It cannot be taught. It is something that you have to be, I should not say born with, but yes, this is something which you have to actually grab. Here, what I'm trying to say is like the skill like cleaning the data, editing the data at bulk. What does that mean? Like I have this huge amount of data. I have to give the analysis in next 1 hour. What is the right and most efficient way for using the data so that I can actually get the right outcome? This is where I would say learn to play with data. And finally, learn some machine learning, because obviously this is going to actually help you 2x, 3x, or maybe 4x become more productive while actually finding details related to your data. Okay, so the next question is, what kind of a role I can expect if I'm aspiring to become a data scientist? So you can expect obviously the role of a data scientist. You can expect a role of a data engineer, where you have to actually make the products which are actually efficient for the data. You can become a data architect, you can become a data analyst, and obviously you can become a data administrator. Now, I want to mention one thing. We have not included salary figure here, because again, a lot of people are commenting that this salary is wrong and this salary is wrong. So obviously you do your own research. If you have any specific questions related to salary, put them in the comment. Okay, now obviously becoming a data scientist and going into that field is okay, but if I have to give you some bonus, I would obviously say you should move towards the cloud. And what is the path you should take with the cloud? So like, let's say if you're starting with the data analysis or maybe data scientist stuff, you can get started with Microsoft Azure Data Fundamental Certification. That at the associate level, you can also go for Azure Data Scientist level. But if you want to become an expert, then you can target the data analyst specialty certification by AWS, or you can also go for data engineer professional certification by Google Cloud. Now, I want to mention one thing. These are so many certifications. These are so many, I should say, job roles, if I may. And obviously, if someone is confused, like what is the right option for me? Because obviously you cannot do everything. In that case, you should reach to the person who is one of our expert. They will be available as soon as you fill in your details in the link, which is given in the description of this video. Okay, that is it. And I hope that now you have the knowledge of how to become a data scientist. But obviously, if you have suggestions related to topic, or if you need some videos around the topic, obviously comment section is the right place for you. But if you're worried that I'm at certain level, I don't know how can I become a data scientist, I'm thinking of becoming a data engineer, I want to become a data architect, what is the right set of steps I should take? In that case, obviously I cannot help you through this medium of video. In that case, obviously, as I mentioned, fill the form which is given in the description of this video, and someone from our team will reach you and they will help you understand what is the right path for you. And finally, if you're looking for jobs and if you're looking for some roles which are not suiting for you, and if you're looking for new opportunities, we have started this /jobs where you can actually go and find a new job for yourself. So that is it, guys, for today, and I'll see you in the next video.